Hello everybody, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in again. Ist Ben either the von Neumann architecture? Yeah, basically. Well, wait, we can actually check this in a moment. Von Neumann, I'm not quite sure. I think he mentioned something in the early episodes and I don't quite remember the von Neumann architecture. Because I believe doesn't the von Neumann architecture have the von Neumann architecture has different buses for control bus, address bus, and data bus, I believe, or something like that. So maybe it's not quite that, but at least it has shared memory. That's the thing. No different data or code memory. But anyway, Doggo is actually with me. He is laying here on the ground. I'm sure some point he builds up the confidence to say hi to chat as well. In case you didn't see that, and the reason also why I'm so late today is because I was on a podcast last night to American evening times. So it started at 3:30 a.m. my time and it ended at 5:30 a.m. The VOD of that podcast is also available here on this Twitch channel. If you check out the past videos, will also be uploaded to liveoverflow 2, of course, at some point. But it's also available, obviously, at the podcast place. So that was the Thug Crowd podcast, Hard Chat, or whatever it's, not quite sure how it's called again. So yeah, if you want to check that out, we talked a little bit about news, and here's the link to the podcast. You will find the VOD there. We talked a bit about news for the first hour, and then in the second hour we did like a Q&A with me. I was the guest for that episode, so we just talked a little bit about making videos and how I got started and stuff like that. I'm saving you from a boring night on Netflix. Oh, now you put the pressure on me. I'm not so sure if I can deliver that. But yeah, so I know the screen doesn't look too much different for you right now, but actually some stuff on my setup has changed again. So first of all, my overhead has changed. I used a different attachment that arrived today. This way it's less obtrusive in the camera. I have put this camera on a kind of a different attachment that is attached to like a shelf over there. So it doesn't, it's just a little bit differently. It doesn't make much of a difference for you. I have also got a small attachment here to this rig over here. So I'm not sure if you can tell, but this white thing here is the phone. So when we set up the thermal camera, it can stay still and I don't have to hold it and it doesn't shake and stuff like this. So the thermal camera just then can film this here. So there's that. I'm still waiting on a couple of things, mainly like a second light, like something like an overhead light. I had been using this here as an overhead light, but this runs on 2 AA batteries. And I drain like 2 or 3 per stream. So this thing is just like eating electricity. And so I need one that uses just a proper power plug and stuff. And so I can... I don't have to change batteries constantly, and it's a little bit bigger to add a bit more light. Is the clock in the background is the La metric, correct? So episodes should also be up on Spotify, iTunes. Yeah, I tried to search for the podcast actually on my podcast app and couldn't find it. But what is the exact name of is it the Thug Crowd podcast? Is it Hard Chat? Or what is the actual title, for example, on iTunes that I can find it? Because I was not quite sure which it is. Wire the light into your power supply. So yesterday on stream was kind of boring. We didn't really do much. We actually exchanged the LEDs. So let me show you on the close-up camera. We have replaced these LEDs with flathead LEDs. So I guess you can see especially here. They are not round at the top. They're actually flat. They are cut off. And they are not as bright, but they look really, really red. And so I think it looks better. And especially when you look from the top. So when we check the top camera down, then before that, those LEDs were kind of overexposing. You can still see it here. Here are still the old LEDs. So some of them, when they stick up straight up, they are kind of like overexposed and white, and kind of doesn't look so great. And depending on the angle, because they have a very narrow like light angle, they might look overexposed or red and stuff, so they are not as great. But these here, these flat LEDs, they look pretty good on stream. They don't look as bright, but at least they look red. You can still see which ones are on or off. Oh, God damn it. So I think they look much better. Yeah, they look so much better on camera as well. And I think also in person they actually look much better. They, like, probably because of the hard edge and it's not rounded, so the light is inside of it constantly reflecting as well. So they just glow red, while these ones have, you know, like a typical LED is where the light is emitted, that's like very bright and it's like kind of reddish, but it's not so great. These ones just like pop really bright yellow, red. Yeah, so I think they are much better. Then you can also see here we also exchanged that for the yellow one. So this is like the no, wait. Like one of these two is one of the old ones, the old yellow, and this is the new yellow, the flathead yellow. And so you can also like kind of see, like, especially when you like change it around, how these ones are sometimes overexposing. You can kind of see here what I mean, like they are less bright at the top and more bright like right there, while the yellow one is kind of more like, especially like this is kind of how it looks for me. Like this looks very yellow, while these ones are more transparent. So I think they look just nicer. They still take a little bit to get used to, because I'm not used to flat LEDs and it's kind of weird, but they are objectively just better. Did I miss the makeup part? We don't do this every episode. Check out my YouTube channel if you're interested for makeup tutorials. Okay, so this is basically what we did last stream. We just exchanged those LEDs. Also the ALU LEDs weren't like properly put in yet. They were just sticking out, same like here, you know, like just on the long legs. They weren't cut. So we did that for the ALU as well. Also Ben Eder joined us for a couple of minutes yesterday, which was quite frightening. But yeah, that was cool to see that he stopped by. Yeah. And I guess today we will continue working on the RAM module. So this is what is basically coming up now. Okay, what else? What else do I want to tell? Okay, there's one other story I need to tell you. There's one other story. Okay, wait, let me see. I haven't tested this before, but I'm trying this out now. Let me go to this view. Let's see. Sorry, I didn't test this before. Okay, cool. I put it now in black and white because basically I want you to, it's like history right now, okay? Like this is old times. This is like last week, okay? This is like pretty old. And I want you to think back of what has happened last week. And so let me retell you something that happened today. And for that to fully understand it, to fully understand the whole story, we gotta start again at the beginning. So let me reenact how we first dealt with wires at the beginning of this whole series. So when I had to strip wires, I cut them off, and then I had to use pliers, something like this, and then I had to hold my cutting like here, this here, had to hold it like this, put it over there, and then carefully hold it at a certain like closing angle, and then pull, and that would strip the wire. Okay, and that kind of works, but it's very tedious and it's prone to error. Sometimes you snap it off and it's not great. So this is what happened. Then in this epic moment that you probably remember, you can also check it out on the YouTube channel, liveoverflow too. I went out into the world and I had bought this wire stripper that should hopefully help us to then help us strip the wires. but it turns out that this wire cutter is extremely terrible. So when I would hold it like this and pull, like, see, it doesn't fully work right now. It couldn't be adjusted. And the worst part was that in the front, where it's holding the wires, is like a small metal edge that would cause the wire to get punctured there, and sometimes it would strip from there or would just like damage it like that. And so this was awful. This was wasted money, and it was terrible, and I was suffering, and I wanted a new one. And then finally, I think on Saturday maybe or so, the really good wire cutter arrived. And this thing is amazing. Everybody who has been there on stream has heard me like going absolutely nuts about this. So this is like a good wire cutter that just does its job really, really well. Just put in there wire, you click it, and bam, it's stripped. Simple as that. It was amazing. And now we come to today, okay? It's today. Wait, this thing fell now on my laptop. Goddamn. Well, whatever. Okay. So today I was in my room, okay? So this happened earlier. Let me change back the black and white. We don't need it anymore. Now it's like today, okay? Now it's today. We are back in the present. We are back in the present. And so I was here in my room picking up a little bit from the past streams, and I was here. This is my trusty workbench, okay? And so I have tools in there. And then I was like putting like tools away and stuff, and I thought, hey, I should put this away. This is trash. I guess I could throw it away, but for now let's put it in my toolbox here, okay? So and this is what happened. I opened it up, and then I stood like this for like 30 seconds. Why do I have a wire stripper? Why is there a wire stripper in there? I don't remember that I owned this. I have no clue where this is from. I completely forgot that I have a wire stripper. Why did I go out and buy this? I had one. I have no clue. I cannot remember that I ever bought this. I don't know in what context I bought this. I don't know why I have this. I don't know why I own this. I don't understand why it's in my toolbox here. And this just literally happened like an hour or half an hour before I started the stream when I was picking up. What the hell? So I haven't even tried it yet. I don't know if it actually works better. I checked the front holding part, and it looks much better. So it should work. But it might work better, but let's see. I haven't even tried it yet. So here, you are with me now. Let's try this out. Okay, where's my clipper? Maybe I was drunk. Yeah. Okay, so oh, god damn it. Usually I set markers for myself so I can edit it, but somehow the tool right now is like saying it doesn't want me to make markers. Crap. So now how do I remember now when I did what? Sorry. I need to write down the time now or something. Okay, wait. So the time is 0029. Okay. God damn it. Okay, so let's try this out. I have no clue if this works. This completely baffled me. Like, I don't understand why I have this. Makes no sense. So this can also be adjusted here. Not quite sure what this changes. I don't see anything visible, but let's just try and see what happens. Okay, it kind of strips, but wait, maybe I tried to strip too much there. Oh no! It pulled out the metal part. That's why it was so long suddenly. Here's now, this is floppy here. Okay, I mean, okay, this was a terrible one too. So now I feel a bit better. This one was terrible anyway. So let's see, can I somehow... I don't understand this metal thing. Same with the other one. This doesn't seem to affect anything when I turn it. Okay, but this one also looks terrible. When I look in there and look at the blades there. Okay, yeah, okay, so I'm so happy that this is terrible. But yeah, whatever. Okay, so this is also trash. Oh, thanks for the Twitch Prime sub and ice. Yeah, my God. Okay, so I'm happy about this, but yeah. So that was my story for today. Could you stream in some lower qualities, maybe also 720 lagging horribly for me? That's unfortunately not something I can change. I guess I can change it. I can generally change the quality, but that would be also bad for my recording. The problem is that Twitch usually does the transcoding for us so that you can select lower qualities. Unfortunately, that is only available when they have server capacity available or when you are partnered. And I'm not partnered with Twitch. I'm only an affiliate. I will apply for partnership in like 2 days or so. Then I fulfilled the requirements for the partner application. But right now I'm only an affiliate. And I think we talked about this some other day on stream. I didn't check the terms of service directly myself, but as a partner, definitely, but I also think as an affiliate, you are not allowed to restream at the same time to different platforms. Your streaming content while you are streaming has to be exclusive for Twitch. For the bad wire cutters, if you adjust the knob on the back, you will adjust the cutting thickness. But it doesn't do anything. Like for this one here, for the good one, when I turn this wheel, yes, stuff happens. But for both of these red ones, I can look at these blades and nothing is moving. It has zero effect. There's also no end to it. Like these just turn indefinitely. Like nothing happens on there. I can turn this forever. Oh, no. Okay, now I screwed this out. The other ones I could screw forever. Like there was no... I couldn't observe the blades moving in any way or changing in any way. But I don't know. What are predatory content for Twitch partners? I don't know. You use their platform for free. I think that's a perfectly valid terms of service. You don't have to use Twitch. You could just stream on YouTube if you want. But also, to be honest, I don't see really the value in streaming on different platforms. Myself, yeah, I don't really would see the value. It would just be more annoying to handle multiple things at the same time, to be honest. Do you have a list of tools that you are using? Power supply, multimeter? I don't have a list. But if you ask for like buy recommendation or something, guess just ask in chat. I'm sure people have recommendations. The multimeter seems so I just got, so I don't know yet very well yet, but it seems to do its job nicely. So far I'm satisfied, but I've only used it like twice. The power supply is just a cheap power supply that I got off Amazon, so there's about that with tools. Will we assemble something today? Yes, I plan to now continue with the RAM module now. So much better with VLC. Oh yeah, okay. Maybe you can create a YouTube stream with a link to your Twitch live. I mean, you can use the pop-out chat URL. So it's like twitch.tv/popout/liveoverflow/chat. Then you just have the chat by itself. From where do you get all the electronics parts? Just an online store where you can get electronic parts. There are plenty of. There's nothing special about the one that I order from. Why do you prefer Twitch over YouTube? there are multiple reasons, I guess, and there are also a lot of arguments for YouTube. One big reason for me is not putting everything into one basket. So, while I never had any issues with YouTube, other people had about like security content and hacking content or whatever. It's always risky. This YouTube channel could always go away. It's up to the platform. It's not my own platform, so they can kick me off anytime, whenever they want. So I don't want to make sure that I have not everything on YouTube. That's, I guess, my biggest reason why I use a different platform than YouTube. In the same way, if I screw up with the stream and my account would be banned here, it wouldn't affect my YouTube. Just like how you put your money in different banks, just for safety reasons or something. That's the main reason. Second of all, I think Twitch has a good community. Like, I like the Twitch community of like around streaming. I think in that sense, Twitch is really fun. I wouldn't say that YouTube doesn't have this kind of community, but if I don't know, like, I watch a lot of other Twitch streamers. I follow various ones and look at them, and I like just that platform here, and so I figured, if I would stream, then I would probably do it on Twitch. And by the way, I started on Twitch. Live Overflow started as a live streaming channel on Twitch before there was a YouTube channel. So, I'm just going back to my roots. Why do you stream with a delay? I'm not deliberately streaming with a delay. I don't know what kind of settings I have to change. I click the low latency in the settings on Twitch. I don't know if I had some OBS delays as well, but I don't think so that I put anything on OBS delay. Let me see. Where was the delay setting? Somewhere a delay, but I feel like I didn't put any delay in on. I have no stream delay on OBS, and I enabled low latency on Twitch as well. That being said, I enabled stream delay after I started the stream again because I almost forgot. But so maybe it didn't apply yet for this stream, so maybe the next stream will be better. We will see. Only 6 seconds delay, only 10 seconds delay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we are not talking about minutes. What if you make your content backup available P2P for people using torrent or something like that? I mean, seems just work for me. I don't necessarily see the benefit right now. I would say, like, if the world goes up in flames and the whatever medium is left to share the content, then that will be used, I guess. But I don't know. I think YouTube and stuff is excellent to host and watch videos on, and you can of course download YouTube videos. Isn't the monetization in Twitch better than YouTube? Oh yeah, right. That's another thing. I mean, it's secondary for me because I still don't earn enough from YouTube or Twitch or whatever to consider this like a job. But it's a nice addition, and it helps to pay for the crap that I buy. But what I've noticed is that with just like 100 viewers on Twitch, I have a better income basically than on YouTube with 300,000 subscribers. Okay, just like the dimensions, it's crazy. Just because this culture on Twitch is different, right? Like Twitch Prime is a massive thing, right? That Amazon has this with the free Twitch Prime thing is a massive thing, and if they ever take that away, that will be such a punch in the face for every streamer, because that's so massive as for income for streamers. And of course, like, most of my income on Twitch is also from Twitch Prime, which is, we are talking here not many subscribers, but for my channel, but even that is an amount that kind of, I mean, I haven't even streamed the whole month yet, but I already think that it exceeds like my YouTube advertisement payments. Like, and that is just fascinating. Why are you streaming in just chatting category instead of more specific ones? This question comes up a lot, and I would like to ask you, what have we done this stream so far? Have we done any science and technology, or have we just chatted? And the wires per hours is also that, so we haven't done anything right now. Also, I think that, I mean, that was kind of a bit of a sarcastic response to your question. The main reason for that is that, yes, science and technology would be the fitting category. However, people that go into science and technology are specifically looking for science and technology content. I want to be in just chatting because just chatting is a massive category where people are just browsing around. And it would mean the world to me if I reach people that have no exposure to, in this case, electronics or also just computers and IT security or whatever we will do in this on the stream in the future. If people just stumble in here, have nothing to do with security, and I can teach them something, or they get motivated to try out something themselves, that would be my main goal. I'm not really interested to like streaming this to people that are, and I'm interested as well, but you know, like, I would get more satisfaction out of it when people are watching it that are not already into computers. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's just a small thing. For science, we can watch videos. We are here for chatting. Who is that person behind you? It's a dog, actually. It's not a person. I wonder how hard it would be to make your own architecture. It would take some time, but I think it's entirely doable. I would only be afraid of the electronics, but when everything uses the same voltage, it shouldn't be hard. Well, I mean, essentially, this is exactly what Ben Eder has done with this architecture here. I mean, it's based on a book, so he didn't quite think of this architecture himself. It's called basically Simple as Possible, but we will implement our own instruction set, and we might extend this and change this. So in a way, this is our own architecture that we are building. There's a dog here on the ground. You don't see him, but this person was just trolling to make me turn around, so I trolled back about the truth that there's a dog behind me. Okay. Yeah, I would say we head into the first video. Let's not waste too much time. Look, do you want to say hello to stream, buddy? Hey, Frida, come here. No, he's just chilling down there. Hey, Frida, come here. You want to say hello? I guess he doesn't. He will say it. He will probably come over at some point. Did you learn in university? No, electronics I actually learned some basics in school. I had like the basics of like logic stuff and the basics of electronics a little bit in like in like a technical school I went to, but this is not really stuff I had in university. This is just me being an amateur and playing around with it, mostly learning it by doing it myself, playing around with Arduinos. That's basically the only experience I have with it. Ethereum, the name of my dog? No, how do you come up with that? I have a bachelor's in computer science, yeah, or applied computer science, and I'm still working on a master's degree also in computer science. I don't get recognized in the street. No way. What are you talking about? There are like 100 people watching right now. You know how many people live here in the city alone? In this building alone, probably more than 100 people. So you do learn in university? Yeah, you learn in sorry, I'm not quite sure. Well, do you have a more specific question? Yes, I've been to university and I have a degree in university and I studied and learned there a lot. I thought your question was specifically about electronics because that's kind of what we do here now. So sorry if I misunderstood. Okay. So the next video. Wait, did we ever finish that one video? Let me change the screen. I'm not sure if we ever finished it. You learn tools to do applied things in university. He just trolled me. So, I'm sorry, I really am confused with what you would try to ask or what you tried to say. Maybe you can rephrase your question and then I can try to answer again. So did we finish that video? Oh, no. He has gone way further. Okay, so we didn't finish this video. We are somewhere in the middle here.
Or 6.
I guess we were just like a minute or so in. So let's just restart this whole video.
In the last video, we looked at the 74LS189, which is the SRAM chip that we're going to use for the memory in our computer. And remember, it gives us 16 4-bit words. And of course, we want 16 bytes or 16 8-bit words. So we're going to need to use 2 of these chips. So I've got 2 of these chips here. And then the other thing is that the output data is the complement of the stored. So that it's got these inverters on the output, which we really kind of don't want. So we're going to have to re-invert those. So we're also going to use 2 of the 74LS04 chips, which are these inverters. And each chip has 6 inverters. We're only going to use 4 of them from each chip. We'll start out by sticking these things on the board here. We've got our 2 74LS189s and our 2 74LS04 inverters.
I could also do the power connection while he does what we already did.
And the last pin here is the 5-volt power, and then this pin 8 or pin 7 on these chips is ground. And so it's pin 7 on these chips because these are 14-pin chips instead of 16-pin chips. And I've got all these turned, so pin 1 is over here on the left. See a little dot.
Do you see Bredo's chips I click? Did you just stumble into the stream?
Hooked up for all of them. So the first thing I'll hook up is the for the 74LS189. We've got the outputs here, output 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to hook these up to the inverters because these outputs are inverted and we want to re-invert them so that we get the right output here. So first thing I'm going to do is hook up those outputs. And so that's the first, the 4 outputs of this first chip now are connected to 4 of the inverters on this first chip here. So these are the inputs, input for 1, 2, 3, and then 4 up here. So it just corresponds to these inputs on these inverters for these, and then this one up here. And we're not going to use these 2. So next I'll do the same thing for the second pair of chips.
We really got to be careful with this because I decided to connect it differently, as you can see. Because these RAM chips have like 4 bits input each, or output, and these XOR chips have, I believe, 6 gates per chip. So instead of like wiring them to the other side, I decided to only use 2 here and 2 here and 2 here for like each on the sides. You see what I mean? And he connected them in order to this single chip. That's why he changes sides. So that's something we really need to pay attention to, that later when we take the output from here, that we make sure that we keep the correct order, because we need to pay attention to that.
Yeah, so there were a few people that commented on the last video asking, why use the 74LS189 when you've got to hook these inverters up to it, and it's it seems a little bit inconvenient, and yeah, it is a little inconvenient. It doesn't seem terrible, but I looked and there was a 74LS219, but I couldn't seem to find that anywhere. But if you get your hands on one, that one doesn't require the inverters, and yeah, there's other chips too. I just didn't do a ton of research to find the absolute best chip. I'm just kind of using what I've got available. But if you've got if you want to find a different chip and use that in yours, I definitely encourage you to do that. Definitely hopefully these videos are kind of inspiring you to try some of your own things.
Yeah, Ben Eater is
If you
awesome.
want to build this and make some modifications to it, not only are you going to probably learn more by trying your own modifications, but you'll be even more proud of what you've built when you're done. But in any event, now we've got our all of our outputs of our 74LS189s hooked up to our inverters. And so now we should, somewhere in here, have inverted, or actually uninverted outputs now from our memory. So of course we want to be able to see what's going on here, so I'm going to hook up some LEDs to each of the outputs. So the outputs of these inverters now are pin 2, 4, 6, and then on the one here it's going to be pin 8 up here, and then over on the one on the right here I used pin, it'll be pin 12, and then again 2, 4, and 6 down along the bottom here. So I can just hook some LEDs up to those pins here so we can see what's going on. So that's pins 2, 4, and 6. I'm also using this inverter up here, so that's going to be pin 8 up here. So I'll just hook up a little jumper that brings it down to the bottom here, and I can hook my LED up right there in line. And then same thing over on this side, just hook up a little jumper.
Okay, now I guess I know why he did that, so he can get these
down here, so
LEDs in line. This will not quite work
Yeah,
for us. Well, I should have watched, I
And
guess,
then
a
on
bit more of
this
the
chip again,
video.
it's just pins 2, 4, and 6. And there we go. Those should be the outputs of the inverters that are coming from the outputs of our RAM chips over here.
But we also have more space on our board to the right. We should check the overall picture again if we have space there. I'm always outsmarted by Ben Eater. Oh, except when we did the ALU. He made a mistake, we didn't.
Out of the RAM chip, there's a pin 2 is a chip select, and it's an active low. And that basically allows us to enable or disable each of the chips. And in our case, we always want them to be enabled. So what I'm going to do is
thanks, Nules, for the bits. Thank you so much.
On both of these chips low, so that both of these chips will always be enabled. And then to control whether the output of these chips is actually going out on the bus, I'm going to use the 74LS245 that we've used many times before in our registers, which is this 8-bit...
oh, sorry, I got distracted by the bits.
And in our case, we always want them to be enabled. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie pin
Oh, he
2
enables it. Okay, all
on
right.
both of these chips low, so that both of these chips will always be enabled.
All right, okay. We also need that. Yeah, so welcome everybody who has just joined into the stream. Cool that you checked it out when it was recommended to you. As you can see, we are building like an 8-bit computer from scratch. This is based on Ben Eater's video series on building this. So we just follow his videos and then slowly make progress of building it. As you can see here already, we have built a few modules already. What you can see there is a clock module and 2 registers, as well as an ALU, the arithmetic logic unit, which can perform addition and subtraction from these 2 registers. So this is as far as we got, like the past week, a little bit over a week now. And yeah, and so now we are continuing with the next module, and the module we are working on right now is the RAM module. So this will be the massive 16 bytes of memory of this incredible fast computer. Yeah, so we do this just to learn more a bit how computers work, learn a bit more about electronics. I have just like amateurish basic knowledge of electronics, so being able to follow this along is very helpful. And Ben Eater has an amazing YouTube channel, and the series is amazing. If you are generally interested in how a computer works and how you can build one without waiting for hours and hours of this boring stream, then make sure to just check out his channel and or his website to yeah, how this works. the ALU are multiple chips. As you can see here, there are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first chip is a bus. It's just for the bus output. The next two are two 4-bit adders. Together they make an 8-bit adder. There also exist 8-bit added single chips, but for whatever reason we use two single 4-bit ones. And then we have two XOR chips as well on here, because with two XOR chips you can perform a 2's complement of the input. And a 2's adding the 2's complement of a value is the same as like subtraction. So you can use the addition chips to perform subtraction or addition, depending on if you convert one of the values in its 2's complement or not. And with the XOR chips you can 2's complement. If these terms confuse you, just watch Ben Eder's video series. He has an amazing introduction to how we represent negative numbers with zeros and ones in binary, how our computers do negative numbers with the 2's complement. Just watch this video series. Okay, so we added that.
And then to control whether the output of these chips is actually going out on the bus, I'm going to use the 74LS245 that we've used many times before in our registers, which is this 8-bit
crap, now he uses that space over there.
Tri-state buffer. So we'll just add this in over here. In this case, it's a 20-pin chip, so pin 10 over here.
Okay, so how do we deal with the LEDs here for our build? Let's just figure this out really quick. This is kind of annoying, especially the order of the... Okay, maybe... Okay, wait, I need help. What do you think? Should we rewire this, that it is the same as Ben, that these LEDs look the same? Or should we try to make this work first? Anybody got an opinion on that? Oh wait, yeah, add wires. Wait, add wires. We made 1, 2, 3, 4. We added 4 wires. Okay, wait, add wires 4 didn't quite work. Was it +4 or something? I guess not. I'm dumb. Or was it add wire? I just... Oh yeah, okay, cool. Thanks, sorry. If you rewire it, we can get a higher wire per minute. Well, I feel like we need to, if I rip them out, we definitely need to subtract the wires, right? That is unfair to the last time we added them into our statistics. Try to make it work. Okay, let's try to first make it work, and let's think of how they are aligned, and then maybe it makes sense. And if it looks hideous or would be too not so great, then we can still rewire it. Okay, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Okay, so I might need to pull up the data sheet of these chips again so that I can remember what is what. Now, I think it was this chip here. Why won't you let me move you? There we go. So this is the let's turn it off for now. These two chips here, this is what you can see in the diagram. Is Fairchild Semiconductor still a thing? Is that like old or something? I don't know. You have a lot of space between the next chips and yeah, so but you know, the reason why I wired it this way, I thought it was cleaner to have it all the way there. But if we now have to bring wires like around these chips to bring them like down here all on the other side and stuff like this, then we kind of lost the neatness of this, right? So maybe then Ben's version would have been cleaner, but let's see. What are inside the chips? That's a good question, and there was actually, I recently saw a really good video showing how chips look inside. Let me see, was this on Hackaday? Chip inside. Yeah, this video, it's just 5 minutes. Let's just watch it really quick. It's excellent. It's really great.
Hi, my name is Wendell Oskay. I'm here with my friends at Maker Faire, John McMaster, Ken Sheriff, Eric Schlepfer, and Lenore Edmond. And we have a project that's called Uncovering the Silicon. In this project, what we're doing is taking a very simple, old integrated circuit. We're going to walk you through the entire process of understanding how it works by looking under the microscope and relating it back to the macroscopic behavior of the chip. So let's start with the chip. This is a part produced by Fairchild in about the...
There's Fairchild again. Okay.
Late 1960s, early 1970s. It's a dual 2-input NOR chip. It's a little octopus-looking can with 8 legs. Got pins 1 and 2 hooked up to these buttons. These are inputs. And when I press it, the input goes high. And when I press either one of these or both of these, the output goes low because this is a NOR gate. We also have a second NOR gate on here. And the pins are numbered around in a circle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have pins 1 and 2 are the inputs A, and pins 3 and 5 are inputs B. Pins 6 and 7 are outputs, and power and ground are pins 8 and 4 respectively. So our collaborator, John McMaster, took one of these chips and with great effort and skill, decapped it, removed the epoxy from the top so that we can now look at it under the microscope. The actual piece of silicon inside is about 1 millimeter square. We have it under high magnification here. So the purpose of our project is to take this image that you're seeing on the microscope and ask the question, what are those parts and how does that relate to the macroscopic behavior? How do we get from this image that you see on the microscope here to that NOR gate behavior? So let's start with a still image from the microscope. This will be a little easier to see because it's holding still. This structure up here is an individual transistor. It's an NPN bipolar transistor, and I have a little acrylic model of it here in my hands. This has 3 parts, a base, emitter, and collector, and if I put on a little lead frame that connects to them, you can see with a label which of those parts are. So the base I've drawn here in yellow, the emitter is in red, the collector is also red. The emitter is embedded into the top of the base. And if you look at this sideways, it's actually a little more accurate because this is a planar device. It's really NPN top to bottom. At the bottom, we have the collector here in red, a gap, and then we have the base here in yellow. And perhaps you can see it, but the emitter is embedded into the top of the base and doesn't go all the way through. So now that you can identify one transistor, let's look at what the entire chip looks like. This is an acrylic model of the entire chip. And you can recognize that one transistor that I was pointing at before, but there's also a lot of other stuff going on. First of all, there are the wire bonds, which is how this connects to the outside world. These are our pins 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if I take off the wiring and the metal layer, you can see the silicon underneath. Here's that transistor, but if we look carefully, we can see more of these. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 transistors. The only other component found in this type of IC is actually a resistor. This here, this little dog bone shape, that's one of the resistors. It's a piece of slightly conductive silicon, and if you were to imagine wiring up wires to either end of it, it would conduct, but not great, which is why it's a resistor. So now that we can identify those two parts, let's put the lid back on and trace how this thing works. Pin 1, again one of my inputs, goes to this resistor, and that goes to the yellow thing, to the base of my transistor. Pin 2 goes through another resistor and then to the base of a second transistor. And if you trace the wiring from there, you'd find that the two emitters, the little embedded red part, the two emitters of these two chips are wired together, and that those are wired further to pin 4, which is our ground pin. On the other side, our collectors of these two transistors are wired together here, and those we can trace out to pin 7. If we write down a circuit diagram of that, it looks a bit like this. That's this part of the chip that I've just shown you right here. There's two inputs, each of which goes to a resistor, and then each of those goes to the base of a transistor. And on those two transistors, the two emitters are wired together and to ground, the two collectors are wired together, and that's to the output. So in loose hand-waving terms, when you apply a voltage to either of these two input transistors, it turns on that transistor and pulls down this point, the collector, to ground, and that's our output. So if either input is high, our output is low, and that's how this NOR gate works. And our hope is, once you've been through that, once you've traced that, you can go back and look at this microscope picture, and you can trace this on your own, because you now know what you're looking at.
So I have another website that I can show you. It's called Silicon Zoo. So I had like hardware security in university, and we were learning a little bit about how you can reverse engineer these integrated circuits. And so on this website you can find, let's see, it's basically, as the description says, a layman's guide to IC reverse engineering. And it explains here kind of like how it works and how, how on these integrated circuits, how these gates look like. And then not only that, it has actual pictures. So here you see real world examples of how certain gates look like. So you see here the inputs, the different layers of imaging. So these are real like microscopic images with like an electronic microscope, probably at least these here, I guess, done from a chip that was opened with like various acids or maybe even grinding or something like that. But yeah, so and you can like literally trace these. So I guess here's even a logic challenge. I haven't done this, but here you can see like the metal layer, the silicon layer, and then you can kind of like try to draw that yourself. Like you try to actually like connect all the things that you see in these images. And then you try to work out where the connections are, and then, yeah. And so on this website there are even like like here's, for example, I guess an RFID chip, how the inverters and stuff look on there, buffers, NANDs, NORs and XORs and stuff. And how these all look like under the microscope. Is there like a full picture of the full chip? Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really cool. For what purpose would you analyze the whole chip under a microscope? For reverse engineering. You don't know what's in this chip. And so, there can be various reasons why you want to reverse engineer this. Most of the time, this here, like if you look at RFID, so the reason why they are reverse engineering RFID chips is because RFID chips are cryptographic chips, right? And there are like these dumb RFID tags, but if you think more of like RFID with like a smart card inside, then there's like cryptographic algorithms in there, and they use a private key that is stored in that chip. And basically, like, you maybe have like a credit card, right, that has like RFID for payment. This is not so simple, right? There's actually like cryptography involved, and there's a secret key stored on that. Or wait, a good example is TV piracy. Do you still remember these times when you had like a TV box at home, and you would get these smart cards that you would like plug in there, and they would decode the TV stream so you can watch the pay TV or the premium TV stuff. You had the TV signal was transmitted encrypted, and on these chips was a secret key, and these chips would decrypt would provide a decryption key for the video, and the decryption would go through the chip. So in order to do piracy there and copy these cards, you would have to extract the secret chip, the secret key. So you would have to open it up, and you would have to try to understand the chip that is inside. And that is one way how it could be done. I mean, there are many different methods on attacks on these kind of chips, but one way would be to open it up and then to analyze it. Where is the memory? Where's the bus? What is the ALU? Where are registers? And then you can maybe probe only these connections. You could maybe there are certain techniques that you can use to try to then, for example, induce a fault at a certain point, or maybe you can even read out the connection, the value there, or stuff like this, right? It's reverse engineering, whatever you use this reverse engineering for. Yeah, there's a cool thing that my university did. I'm not sure if I can find it quickly. It was under what's it called? So the idea is basically that when these transistors are switching, they emit a photon or some photons or something. And so what you can do is you can decap the chip, because these photons wouldn't travel very far. But if you have it decapped, and then you can have a sensor on top that catches these photons when they are switching, and this way you can see which parts of the chip are active, and especially with certain memory cells that need to be refreshed and stuff like this, you could tell if there's a 0 or 1 stored in them. What's the name of the security lecture in the university? Just hardware security. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so I tried to reason about the LED placement, but I might have a different idea. So here's the problem right now. So let's take these out again. So we could connect these are the first two, this pin 1 and 2, and then up here we have 2 and 3. So we have 2 here. Now we have space here in between. We could wire them down here, and we could have here 2 more LEDs. So now we got 4. That would be fine, right? The problem comes with the next chip, because then we have these 2 here that have to connect here, and now you have this gap in between, and you could do 4 and 4, and it would also kind of look neat, right? Divide the 8 bits into 4, but it kind of wouldn't match with the rest of the boards, right? So I'm not so sure about that. But sorry, I read something in chat. But he's adding here in the video, if you look, he's adding the transceiver, the bus transceiver chip again. And this is basically the same as we have, and this is the same chip that we use here on the ALU. Sorry. So this chip here is basically what we are adding. And there, while it's a little bit crowded, you can add these 8 here. So we could do the exact same thing on our board as well. So basically here on the right, where we place this chip, we could add them here at the, or I guess they might be here at the top if I think about the input to those. So we could just add them there. How about that? Should we do that? Are you sure? I think you need to wire the output to the NEC gate, not the output of the RAM. That's absolutely correct. You're absolutely right. I didn't pay attention. I don't think necessarily that it would matter. Then it would be inverted. But yeah, the same problem is over here. Like we can do one, like in the way how I wired this here. You are absolutely right. Good eye. Good. I love it when the chat is so attentive. I forgot the word. So you could have two here, and now you can't attach anything here because these are all like pins that are kind of in use, right? So you have to bring them down over here, and then you have here a little bit, like, I don't know. This also doesn't seem to work. But like I said, we connect them here to the bus chip over there. We have to bring all the 8 over there, and then we can either put them up here. I think the inputs are up here, so we might put the LEDs here, which I think is totally fine. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, if the LEDs have the opposite value, it doesn't really matter too much. Yeah. So maybe let's continue and see how crowded this gets with the chip there.
It's ground, and pin 20 up here is going to be 5-volt power. And again, this is a bidirectional buffer, but we're only going to use it in one direction, so we'll just set the direction pin, which is pin 1, to 5 volts. So that will set the direction so that it's always going from sort of these bottom 8 pins to the top 8 pins. And then these bottom,
Hi, Edna,
pins, what is it, 2
and
through
Pro
9
GJ
are going to be our inputs. And so I'm just going to hook those up to our 8 LEDs here, our 8 bits. Okay, so now all of our outputs here that are correctly inverted are now hooked to the inputs of our tri-state buffer, so we can hook our bus in over here. Now if we look back at the pin...
Okay, so ours will look a bit different, I guess. If we place this here, then we have to bring these wires a little bit like around the chip and stuff. But it's fine, let's just do it. I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? What was a chip again? I forgot the value of that though. So that was... the bus transceiver is 245 chip. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. There. Hey, do you want to say hi to Chat? Come here. Come here. Say hi to Chat. Come here. Come here. Hey, Friso. Come here. Come here. Come here. Don't embarrass me. Say hi to Chat. Come on. Say hi to Chat. Okay, let's continue. The 245 chip. We need the 245 chip. I'm not sure if I showed it on stream. Here's an LCD module. So this has quite a lot of input and stuff. So this is maybe one of these modifications that we can try to see if we can make it work somehow to have like an output like this. But this is like very future stuff. Where are the 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5? Oh, there they are. You don't want to see this module again? Will the computer speak I2C or 0 in the end? No. I mean, not planned. It's something that we can choose to add at some point, but encoding, like making this CPU directly speak serial, I find, to be honest, a little bit... Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know how this LCD screen has to be interfaced with. So I'm not quite sure if we manage that. That might be too crazy. But I was thinking that in the worst case, we can maybe make, or like a first plan was maybe to have like an Arduino that just reads and writes from a shared register kind of thing, maybe. But I'm not so sure. We will see when the time comes. No, we are in no hurry. Just trying to find, okay. Oh, nice. Thanks for the 133 for the elite cheers. Mine solved. Thanks. Yeah, okay. Yeah, a few pins for bits read and write enable. Yeah, I mean, in the end, I still don't know how this whole control logic of the whole like computer works. We will get there at some point. But just thinking, if somehow the protocol that this LCD thing speaks can somehow be easily integrated into like a clock in the clock, then maybe we can do it. But I don't know. Oh, it's like so complicated that you would use some kind of library to interface with them. You wouldn't even write it yourself. Okay, we will see. Let's not spoil. I don't know. I don't want to learn about this right now. This is something I want to learn later, but it's, I guess, a standard here if you are curious. Blue line, I guess. Yeah, HD, the thing that you said appears here in the... I don't want to see it. Don't want to learn about it now. It's for later. But here, chat, have a look. Remember it. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, holy crap. A tier 2 sub. You are my first tier 2 sub. Thanks, SDK. Okay, so now we gotta connect this over here. So let's see. So yeah, down here are the inputs, and now again, we need to be kind of careful, which is kind of interesting. So over here, like the first bit, we don't care about this. We care about this later. My full-time job is working as a freelancer. I do security. I'm a security consultant. Oh, we need the outputs of here. Because we need to connect the outputs of the hex inverter to over there. So we need that definitely. Oh. Okay, so over here it goes 1. So let's see, how did he disconnect? So the
all of our
the first chip connects all the way to here, and then this becomes the first LED, and that first LED becomes the first input here. Okay, so that's just, I need to know which order I like to connect this from. Fine. Okay, so this means we go from the output here to the first input over there. So we can cut like here. Ben's solution of the 7-segment display is so elegant. Well, I haven't been there yet, but I've seen that he used one, I think. Like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, he has quite some clever solutions. Also, I really like, I'm not sure if you have been there or seen that, how to do the two's complement for the other. That's also very elegant. I really like that one too. Basically, he uses XOR chips to invert, and then for the two's complement, you need to add a 1 to it, and to add that 1 to it, he just uses then the carry input of the first adder. So he just includes like 1 carry bit, and that's just so perfect. Okay, first one in, then yeah, the second one would then be, would just be here. I need to make sure we add wires. Add wire. There we go, making progress. By the way, I'm curious. So last night, like I said, I was on this podcast, right? And I streamed also from this channel here. So I went live for like about 2 hours or so last night. It was like my time, like 3 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. But it was kind of like prime time in the US. And during the night, I had like on average, sorry, wait, this goes over here. Overnight, I had on average like 30 viewers or so, and now we have 130. So that tells me that you are all European, right? Like the reason why nobody was there at night was that you are mostly all from European countries, or maybe even further east, maybe yeah, further east, whatever, even until to India or something, right? Does that make sense? EU, one person from the US so far, Netherlands, EU, France, Chile. Wow, okay. EU, Switzerland, Belgium, German, Dutch, Romania, Lithuania, US work time, Norway, Switzerland. Well, tonight is also, again, like we are a bit late in the stream, so yes, I can see a bit more US maybe even today, but yeah, like that was just an interesting observation I had yesterday. Was just yeah, interesting to see. But yeah, I feel like we have a lot more EU viewers. Also, the Twitch statistics show that. So when I look at where the countries are from, then actually most of them are Germany, and after that maybe UK or maybe US, but then they kind of share a space with UK and US or something like that. So yeah, so that's interesting because my YouTube channel is predominantly the US. So on YouTube it's by far most US, and then quite a little bit further down is then like UK and Germany and stuff like this. So I find it interesting. I wonder if it's just the time thing, just like because obviously I'm probably trend more towards EU times than US times. So I wonder if that's solely the effect there. Yeah, just an interesting observation I felt like I had. Okay, and then we go from up here, the output. So from 12 all the way over here. I guess, where do we go down? Like, do we get all down here? Or do we all over here? I'm just thinking right now, like I need to go from these two chips. Ah, crap. From these two chips, I have to go on the bottom side here. So I just wonder if I should go up here and then down here, or if I should like do like this. Maybe I go all the way, that we also have some wires like in this white empty spot there. So we go like this, then we bend here, downwards like here, and then we go a little bit forward like this. You would probably get more US viewers if you stream at their times more often. Yeah, but it's a bit tough with my, I don't know. Like usually I generally tend to the late hours in the day, but I try to get like more normal times. It's a struggle. Do you think 16 bytes is not too little? Yeah, it is, but who cares? I mean, still a computer. But yeah, I mean, it will not be enough for example, the LCD. It's not even enough to run a lot of different programs. But that is one of the extensions that I want to make at some point to allow more RAM. People have done extensions. We have actually had somebody hanging out once in a while on the stream who has done an extension for more RAM. So that's definitely something I want to do. But for now, I just want to follow Ben's series, and later when we have a better overview of the whole thing, then we can start like thinking of modifying and changing it. So let's bend here. You can buy cheaper RAM IC with more memory. Yeah, the difficulty is also to hook it up, right? It's like you have here, only so much instructions. Your bus has only 8-bit. So the Ben's version of this computer will use 1 byte per instruction. That's why, you know, a few of the bits decide within which instruction it is, and then 4 bits will be used to address the RAM. That's why we have 16 bytes, because you have only 4 bits to address. And if you implement more than that, then, for example, your instructions need 2 bytes. You need to extend the length of an instruction to 2 bytes, so that you can have the first 8 bits as like the decision which instruction it is, and then the last 8 bits for the address. More wires. I need to add wires. We added one more. Why he's doing that? Well, just to save space, right? It's like if you only an instruction, in that instruction you need to encode a lot of information. You need to encode what the instruction does and also the address that it might address. And so in his case, he decided to keep it simple and have the instruction only 1 byte long, and then you only have so much space in those 8 bits as an address. You know, the other bits need to decide that it is even like a move instruction or whatever. And so, yeah. And when you extend the memory, that's what I said, then you also need to think about how do you change your instructions that you are able to use the full 8-bit, which means you might need 2 byte instructions. And so you have to change kind of how your whole computer works, because now you need to load like first a byte to decide which instruction, and then another byte to load for the address and stuff like this. So this might be, I don't know. I don't know yet how this computer actually works, so I don't know how complicated that is. Why is the stream only available in 1080p? That's because we are affiliate plebs, and Twitch says, sorry, we need to use the whole transcoding CPU power that we have for all our VIP streamers, and we can't give you transcoding as an affiliate. And so that's why it's only now available in the same format that I stream with. But in like 2 days or so, I will be able to apply for partnership. Then I don't know how long that takes, and hopefully they accept. And then I would also be a VIP on Twitch, and they would allow me to, or the stream would then always have transcoding available, and yeah. Okay, so wait. Need to check the outputs. So this was this the output of 2 goes into the third, and now the output of 3 has to go down there. All right. I'm wondering, if you separate the control from the RAM, would you have to change the architecture? I feel like the term architecture becomes really fuzzy when we talk about this here, because we haven't like a defined, like what makes up an architecture is like that you clearly define what this architecture is made of, clearly define what it is. And you can't divert from that definition, because then it's not the same architecture anymore. This computer is so individual. You can make so many small little changes to the instruction set or to the modules or whatever you do, and each small change is then a completely new architecture in a sense, right? So so separating the RAM from the what did you ask? Separate the control from the RAM. Do you mean separating the code from the memory? So code from data, or I'm not quite sure what you mean. That might actually not be too big of a problem. That's actually maybe something we could try maybe to do, to have a RAM that is where always the instructions are just fetched from, but every memory operations are performed on a different RAM. So you have like 2 RAM modules. One is like the code and one is the data. Maybe that's something we could like do. That would be kind of a different architecture. They would still use the same bus, so it's not quite the other like this this other thing of von Neumann. I forgot what the term is. Wouldn't be quite the same thing because there we also use different buses, I think. But yeah, so you know, those are the different kind of thoughts, I guess. Harvard, that was the name, Harvard, yeah. I'm not sure, does Harvard not also imply that you have different buses? That you have that not only are data and code separated, but they are also use completely their own bus? Like if you look on the graphic, wasn't it like this is all German, sorry. Let's see. Yeah, so the Harvard architecture, my understanding is that all the yellow ones are all their own bus. So that the control unit has its single connections to everything, and this is like different from the von Neumann architecture where everything has a shared bus, basically. Isn't that like not modern Harvard architecture, von Neumann architecture? Let's see, what is the modified one? We need pictures. So the difference here is that everything has like here a shared bus, I guess. I don't know, like, yeah. Do you stream directly in, what is HLS? I stream in 1080p to Twitch, and Twitch usually then does their transcoding if they have a capacity to do the transcoding for affiliates. But as a partner, you will always get the transcoding. But if you separate program from RAM physically, that always needs to happen, right? No, we can have the shared bus. Like the CPU could use the bus to fetch the instruction from the code RAM, and then but only reads and writes for like move instructions from the data RAM. Like that could still happen on the same bus. I think this is closer to a von Neumann architecture, even if we would separate that. But what do I know? I have no clue. Way more important than being right here or whatever, I think, is actually that we just discuss this and talk about this, you know, kind of like explore what it is. Yeah, I find this actually very valuable and cool that we have these kind of conversations. Clearly, I don't know the exact definition, so I can't like answer it. I wouldn't like feel comfortable to say this is how it is. But it's kind of fun to like argue about it with our layman understanding. Thanks for the Twitch Prime code, Born. Okay, we are about to add the next wire. I just need to change. I just need to. Almost made this a bit too short there, but should be fine, I guess. And you know, like with a lot of these things, these kind of definitions are not meant to describe the only physical, like it's not like that these two ideas, Harvard or von Neumann, are not like intrinsic to our natural universe. Like it's not like that there's some underlying mathematical law of nature that says you can only build a computer that way or that way. These definitions and the difference, how different they are, doesn't mean that you are. It's not a law that tells you you have to do it exactly that way and you need to follow that. They are meant to enable discussions and arguments around them to differentiate things that are a little bit different. But in the end, you are free to adapt, change, modify them as you want, and you will might not be able to clearly say it's a Harvard, it's 100% Harvard, it's 100% von Neumann, but you could say it's closer to Harvard or closer von Neumann, and then a person who understands what the definition of that is has kind of understands what it is. It's like a word for you know, to convey a certain meaning, but it doesn't mean that it has to be 100% that way. That you know. Shall I be nitpicky and say that a Turing machine requires an infinite band or whatever it's called, and so our breadboard will not be able to emulate a Turing machine? Add wire. Agreed, but then no computer is a Turing machine. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, this also shows, I guess, again, how, yes, it makes sense to have these kind of definitions for you know, if we are arguing about it like a mathematical framework, and it makes sense that it is defined that way and stuff like this. And but you know, in the end of for our practical application here, whatever, you know, it doesn't really matter. We all understand where like the limitations are, or like, you know, the nuances of these things. Like being that nitpicky if it's now a Turing machine or not is, I think, in most cases a useless kind of argument to have, because the person who is nitpicky is just kind of, the person knows what we mean when we say it's a Turing machine, you know, that we can do arbitrary computation. Yeah, whatever. Oh, I made this just a tiny bit too long. But can it run Doom? I need, oh damn, this is something I should have implemented this. A Doom or crisis counter, and then in like a couple of weeks we can see if people are generally asking if it can run Doom or crisis more often. What is a Turing machine? A Turing machine is a How about we do like a Wikipedia reading stream? A Turing machine is a... Wait, did I add that wire? We are at 8 wires, but I believe we are now at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are we at 10 wires already? Wait, I added 2 black ones. 2, 3, 4. And then we added 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? I forgot to. Yeah, a Turing machine is a mathematical model of computation that defines an abstract machine which manipulates symbols, blah, blah. Despite the model's simplicity, given any algorithm, a Turing machine is capable of executing that algorithm. And so it just implements a couple of things that it can do. Let's see, does it define somewhere down here? So there's like a tape, and it can like operate on that tape. Just a couple of different instructions, basically, that the Turing machine can do, and it's like mathematically proven that any algorithm that we can define can be executed by that machine. And so it's a way to theorize about if things are computable or not, or yeah. Turing machines have no wires. Coincidence? Yes, a Turing machine can run Skyrim. Okay, 2 more wires. Imagine playing Skyrim on an entirely mechanical machine. Can a real Turing machine solve the halting problem? No. That's like... Isn't the halting problem defined as that a Turing machine would never end or something like that? I'm not sure what the exact definition is. So the halting problem is defined whether the program will finish or continue to run forever. Because a Turing machine is like the mathematical definition of a computer. The halting problem is undecidable over Turing machines. No Windows sound. Yeah, this camera is connected via USB to my streaming PC, and so when the battery shuts off and it comes back on, then Windows recognizes a new USB device. Halt! You have committed crimes against Skyrim. Okay, so it's I'm procrastinating again. Based on that graph, we are accelerating. If we continue like this, then we are done in like 5 hours. How did I cut this so badly? This doesn't even fit at all. But given a finite input and finite state, and us being able to detect repetitions of state, we would detect if the program goes into a loop. Yeah, okay, but now you have added quite a lot of constraint, like infinite states, finite states. No, wait, does that make sense what I just said? Yeah, okay, wait, no, wait, the question is that I could build an algorithm that has so incredibly many states that even with like a massive supercomputer, the state would only repeat every 3 ages of the universe or something like this. And so you would not be able to detect a repeating state right? I can have finite states. For example, you could have like, just imagine like an incredibly large number that we count up. But because we have finite states, we define that our number can only have like 2 trillion digits or whatever. Then yes, if you could count up all these trillion of digits, then yes, suddenly you would have a repeating state once you wrap around and start at 0 again. But to detect that, you need to wait like 2 ages of the universe to reach that. Yeah, and some specific problems are obviously decidable. Maybe we have certain like tools at our hand that allow us mathematically to check if they fall into that specific category, and then we can maybe decide that. But we can't generally do that for everything. Anything finite is theoretically decidable. Yeah. Okay, add wire. Wait, I have an add wire button, I forgot. One more. I just held it there. How was I able to bend this so wrong? I can write a finite state machine that never exists. You just need to switch states based on some logic. The result is possibly random loops. The whole thing is a lot more complex than it may seem. Okay. Here we go. Looks a bit crooked, doesn't look so nice. I didn't quite get the spacing. Maybe I can bend that one cable to have a bit closer spacing to these other cables there. Okay, I guess now it looks a little bit better. Okay, cool. And next we have the LEDs, but I think I need to refill my drink and get a fresh breeze really quick. I need some fresh air. It's getting pretty stuffy in here already. Yeah, so I will be right back in a moment. I was still using the wire stripper. Yeah, I'm using this wire strip. It's a perfect wire. This wire stripper is great. And we have to add one more wire. Wait, did I add that wire? And how many wires are we at? We need to be at 12 now. Okay, one more. There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, see you in a moment. Oh, what was that? Did sellout hacker take over the stream again? Damn. Glad I came back in time to stop him. I also brought oh, by the way, I think I missed a sub earlier. Cellulith or so subscribed like 41 minutes ago, and I think I missed that subscription. So thanks. I also brought dog food. There's Mr. Doggy. So now we can make him dance for us. Okay, jump, jump, jump. No, not spin. Yeah, jump, jump. Good jump. Incredible jump. And jump. Good jump. There we go. Good job. Good job. Okay. I don't quite see it on stream, but we can do a spin too. We can do a spin. Good spin. Okay. High five. High five. Yeah. Good high five. Two men. Two leg. Two leg. Two leg. Good two leg. Good job. Good job. You did a good job. Oh, you gotta chew your food. Don't just swallow it. There you go. This one is coming from Chat. Thank Chat for that one. Okay. That's a cat emote. Are you a cat? Do you feel insulted or are you okay? Okay. Let's add the LEDs then. Basically, we do it the same way as we have done over here. So let's get the overhead. This, and I guess we can remove that. Yeah, somebody link computer file. They are great, but also you should check out Crash Course. Crash Course, they have a lot of like different kinds of topics, but they have a how computer or computer science series or something. And I watched like the first. I mean, I haven't watched the whole series, but the first like handful or dozen or so videos about introducing how a computer works. Yeah, excellent. They are really great. I really like those. Six wires per hour. Yeah, we are on fire today. All right, so now we can add LEDs again. I guess we start all the way over here. Inaccurate. It's actually it's 5.3. You're going to sleep. Yeah, see you maybe tomorrow. Good night. With building the CPU, I believe it does uses microcode. I might need. I haven't watched the whole series, but the small glimpses here and there that I got was that it uses microcode. But maybe you wanna just skip through the series yourself to see if that's the case or not. I thought we use an EEPROM to implement some microcode. Whatever that means, I actually also don't quite know yet what it means to have microcode. So that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to see. They don't have resistors, nope, but these chips have. These LS chips have built-in resistors. So Ben either was using specifically these. I assume that's the reason why uses this old series of these chips. So this is the 74LS, and they have internal resistors. There are the more modern versions with CMOS, the HCT or HC or whatever. They are faster and better power consumption stuff, but unfortunately they would require an additional resistor, and so because we have so limited space for always adding resistors for these LEDs, it's easier that way. Okay, the thing that got blocked was not because of this, was this. This is what the bot blocked. Why architecture? Is there something insulty about this that I don't quite see? Yard sheet. Yeah, I don't know. Right now we are not adding wires, we are just adding LEDs. Would have actually been better if I have put this chip just like two things a little bit further, and then the spacing here would have been easier with those LEDs here. How wide is the instruction bus? It all uses a shared 8-bit bus. Why is this packed so much tighter than this here? I've only added 5. I need 3 more. Oh, I know why. Okay, so while this chip here, these two, like this chip and this chips are the same, but they are like turned the other way around. So here we have 2 spaces free, and here we have 2 spaces free, but here we win another leg because the last one is like, no, it's the same one here too, basically. Wait, so confused. Okay, it's a little bit annoying, but I think if we move that chip just like two rows over and like attach these cables here, because they all don't match anymore, then we have better spacing for these LEDs, because they get so tight here. Like that's and now the legs have to go like super far over there. Like already, this is the 5th one, and this one already, see how angled over that gets there, and I need like 3 more now. That's kind of intense. How many registers does this chip have? I believe so. Currently we have 2, but I believe later, including the instruction register, we will have 3. So instruction A and B, I believe. But I'm not 100% sure, because I'm following this series by Ben Eder. You can find his website there on this link, and his YouTube videos and stuff like this. So I haven't watched these videos yet. I'm following along. So I don't quite know yet exactly the end goal. Yeah, so I think this is what I do now. I know, sorry, we gotta remove 1 wire, 2 wires, 3 wires. Does it hurt? Does anybody feel pain? 4 wires, and now these ones too. 5, 6, 7, 8. How did it feel? How did it feel? Ouch. Okay, so this was 1. Now this goes here. You know, as entertainment, because of this punishment here, I'm not sure if everybody has seen it. Shall we check out the thermal camera again? I feel like I have to do this at least like once a stream. Come on. Crap. Okay. Okay, so now pay attention, there's a temperature scala somewhere. There we go. So there you see the temperature scala, so it's like, anyway, let me turn this on and pay attention to kind of like how you see the chips lighting up while I work on these wires here. Why would I rotate the camera? This is now exactly like how it's set up. Like this is up here, then down here, then here. I know that the temperature is like tilted. It's just like because of like how the phone is like tilted. And maybe I can fix it at some later point. But yeah. It's just like the kind of little bit of an angle. But yeah, so you can slowly see the chips lighting up, and we can also, let me move. I don't quite see it. So there we go. There you see like the temperature, and you can kind of compare it to this other value that is like pointing like next to it. You can, it's like 30 to like 38 right now, the difference. Will it run Fib? Do you mean Fibonacci? That's the one program that Ben Eder was able to implement on this computer. Just barely, as far as I know. It's like one of these only programs that it can run that fit into that memory, I guess. Oh, I damaged my nail there. Okay. Next wire goes from here to like here. No, wait, let me think. That's not true. From so I need the data sheet there again. Two is up here, so this is 2. Okay. Yeah, there are people that have it upgraded with 256, but yeah, it's definitely something I want to do. But yeah, for later, we are still quite far away of like doing any upgrades to this. And we are in no rush. I need to draw out this project for content for the stream as much as I can. So the wires per hour is inversely proportional to euro per hour? Like, I don't know. That would be funny to graph at the end. Have you seen the Linux in an 8-bit micro project? No, I don't think so. I don't think I've heard of that. By the way, I like how you are right now like discussing about this halting problem and stuff like this. That's pretty cool. x86 has much more than 16 instructions. Yeah. Okay. Is it enough to add 2 zeros to that? 2 zeros are probably barely enough. Yeah. Especially considering like all the hardware related instructions. Like, sure, there are only so many that a regular program might use, but as soon as you go down the rings and think about like the different hardware instructions or virtualization instructions and stuff that exists, it just goes wild, I think. Do we count the hidden instructions and the accidental opcodes? I feel like that has to somewhat count, I guess, maybe? I don't know. Wait, what did I just do? What did I just do? Why did I bend it that way? Wait, does it belong here? Oh, it belongs here. Sorry, I'm sorry, it must be so boring. I'm just a little bit like perfectionist about how these wires look like right now. I'm kind of not like satisfied with it, I don't know. Okay, so crap, I need to add the wires again. So we have one, I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, guys, go, bye-bye. Have you seen the hardware backdoor talk and bypassing a ring of protection, some obscure thin clients and a discussion process existing in x86? I'm not sure exactly what you specifically refer to, like that specific thing, but I mean that it can be a thing for sure. I mean that there's theoretically such a thing. Could be. I don't know. Always the question also like the discussion of what do you call a backdoor and what is just a bug or design flaw or something like this. You know, with the Intel ME stuff, people, so many headlines about like it being a backdoor or something like that, but I still have to see, like, is the story you're talking about like like to be like kind of proven to be a backdoor? Is it like clearly something to escalate privilege and has no other use, or was it just like a kind of a bug in the ring protection? Le Futurist, there is, were you there on the stream when I recommended the podcast Methodisch Inkorrekt? They are a science podcast, and I think it would be perfect to learn German because they have a lot of casual conversation, and and they talk then about a couple of science papers. They make jokes, and it's very casual. So I feel like that would actually be probably a good way to improve your German skills. Spurtman, that's just an old statistics basic, what's it called? Like the goat problem or whatever. It's, you know. Monty Hall, that's the term, yeah. It's not really a paradox. Or is it? Is it qualified as a paradox? I always thought it's like quite clear if you think of like 1,000 doors. Let's say you have 1,000 doors and you pick one. Wait, how does it go? If you have 1,000 doors and you pick one, and then the person opens like, so wait, there are 1,000 doors and 999 of them are death. Then when you pick the first door, you have an incredibly high chance to pick a door that is certain death. And so so your first pick is most certainly a death thing. And now the person opens all the 998 doors that are certain death, and suddenly you are given the choice of staying with your initial choice or that other door. And suddenly this extremely high certainty of choosing of your first choice, that was like the death door, goes down. And if you now switch, it's yeah, I know, thinking about it that way, it's like I felt clearer. I don't know, now I confused myself somehow. It was specific to that client escalating two processor architecture with one caring about the ring stuff, sort of magic value, very complicated, inclusive. Yeah, okay, so that sound, just from your description, more like a bug or like a cool hack than an actual backdoor. Yeah, I'm just wondering here in chat, I'm sure a lot of here have like kind of like got that headline or maybe even read the article of Bloomberg about that hardware backdoor thing. I want to see how many people think that there was a backdoor and how many people think that there was none. The tiny chip on the PCB backdoor. Yep, exactly that one. there was a backdoor, just not the reported. Okay, I guess I also failed with news. I didn't hear about that news that there was a backdoor, just not a hardware backdoor. Because my last state of knowledge was that it's pretty much all made up. Was it a hardware backdoor, or was it then just some software malware pre-installed, or I don't know. What was the verdict? Because all these references that came out and stuff were all saying that it didn't happen. Milo, it's not so much about like if that tiny chip necessarily can be, that could have been like an artistic choice to show it or whatever. But stuff can be really small, and maybe a super cleverly placed component kind of opens up something, like if it's like placed on the memory bus or something. I don't know. Who knows? But I would certainly say theoretically it's like all that stuff would be theoretically possible. The question is just like if it happens, right? I think that is an extreme difference. Microcode backdoor, all these stuff could theoretically happen. I like to think of it, or like a good example I like to make. An example I like to make is with, for example, Windows updates, right? Like Windows has, or Microsoft has basically a backdoor into all our computers through automatic updates. Same with Chrome, with their browser. Any software that has automatic updates is theoretically a remote shell. They just need to push a malicious update with like a Trojan, and you would get that. They could take over your computer anytime they want. And even though you have this backdoor built in, doesn't mean that Microsoft uses it to actually, or any other software vendor with updates generally uses it to push like as a backdoor, right? And thinking about it that way always makes me think, okay, yeah, theoretically there could be a backdoor, doesn't mean that it's actually been done. The coolest thing about Backdoor Talk was that people actually started scraping CPUs for testing. Yeah, like many years ago, I remember saying somebody was like fuzzing or like enumerating instructions on like Intel CPU because an instruction is now so wide that theoretically, enumerating all the possible instructions and being sure about the side effect that it have, might be a combination of instructions after another that might lead to something or so. So fuzzing for those unknown instructions is quite an interesting task. The same stuff, it is also a similar discussion about like, for example, electronic locks, like smart home locks. Like people are talking about let's say it's a Bluetooth device and it has like a vulnerability or something in it, and then I only think of like, who cares? You have windows that just need a stone to get in, or next to your regular smart lock is also a regular tumbler for a regular key, and so you can just lockpick that. Maybe it's just a basic door. Like, okay, well now, like, I don't know. And then people are freaking out over it, and they don't freak out over the windows that they have. Like, I don't know, like that stuff like that always kind of like, I don't know, makes me a little bit. I'm wondering. Wait, how do I arrange these now? If a CPU manufacturer would be caught doing a backdoor, it would be done, yeah. But then again, you can hide a backdoor like as a, as a bug. So you say, oh, it was just a bug. I mean, these things have bugs all the time. So, what's the difference there then? Claiming intention is always like tricky, I guess, but I don't know. Not really something I would worry about. Ah, there's a tool, sand stifter. That sounds cool. Need to put that in my notes. I remember. Yeah, I also remember that XOR handle. Isn't that the same person that made the Morphoscaler, or was that somebody else? That's the guy, yeah. Hi, Neox. Yeah, I've always wanted to look into RISC-V. I've never had a reason to kind of look at it. But yeah, definitely something I want to play around with at some point. Okay. We have added the LEDs. Now, there's one thing I'm still missing. The This chip also needs ground and VCC connection still. So let's quickly do that. Okay. So add wire. Where are we at? I think wires. We are at 9 wires. Wait, I'm confused. 9. What was it earlier before I removed them all again? I think I need to add now 9 wires, right? Like the 8 that I put back plus the black one now, right? I think so. Or is that wrong? I might have. Did I add single wires while I was reconnecting them? Okay, I might have cheated right now. I'm not quite sure. Okay, so we got that connection as well. Amazing. I think we might also need VCC down here. Okay, I guess we can now head back to the video. Let's see. Actually, I need to go to the bathroom really quick, so I will be right back. And let Sellout Hacker take over the stream for a moment. I will be right back. Oh, who was that? Sorry, he took over my stream. That must have been Sellout Hacker again. I'm so bad at acting, really. I wish I could do this better. Okay, so let's continue watching this video here. Definitely the best idea for BRB scene. I spent way too much time on it. Thanks. I wanna, like, this was the fastest version I could like hook up in a couple of hours, but the idea would be later to actually have a bit more interesting challenges, and then maybe even like a leaderboard or so where people can do that. Just very basic challenges that are fun for like just a 5-minute short break or so. I think that would be kind of fun, and then always randomly select the challenge, something like that. But yeah, this is like the simple ROT or Caesar Cipher or whatever is the only thing that was like just immediately done without anything additionally about it. And thanks for the Twitch Prime, H Migo. You shouldn't have listened to Sellout Hacker, but thank you. What's the question, Live Futurist? Capture the flag, question mark. What do you mean? Thanks for the Twitch Prime, SL Midnight. The ad had me sold. Nice. Okay, then the time was well invested. Solid YouTube content. Thanks. Still have not found the slides for the hardware security lecture. Yeah, I'm not sure if they are public. I have no clue. Yeah, also hashing the flag with the account nick. Yeah, that's also what I thought. Like my initial thought that also like always the username has to be part of it so that people just can't copy and paste the solution from other people. But yeah. You post like the link to a challenge at the end of the video and post solutions for someone who solve it next video. Sorry, you post like link to challenge at the end of video and post solution for someone who solved it in the next video. You mean like as a YouTube video, just for my YouTube videos, just to have a challenge at the end and then like show the solutions in the next video? I've thought about like doing my own challenges and let people solve it and stuff like this. But I don't know, it's a lot of kind of time and a lot of interaction and organization stuff. So far I didn't necessarily think they would like, I don't know. Yeah, I also feel like I don't have good challenge ideas. I don't know. Some people can just pump out challenges, and I don't know. All the challenges I would build are kind of like copies of other challenges, and I don't know. That seems kind of lame. It's not lame actually. Like I understand that a lot of challenges can be similar, and you can still make something unique about them. It's not bad. I'm not judging, but I don't know. For myself, I always feel like I want to make something new. Yeah, Gunwell does it all the time, I know. But he's also a beast. Taking control of your webcam. Yeah, stuff like that would be cool. Yeah, those small ideas can eat up surprising amount of time. Yeah, luckily, here, Newell's here in chat. I'm not sure if he's still right here right now, but you see his nickname at the top cheers, like at the top of the chat. Newell's works for Stream Elements, so the bot and overlay stuff that I'm using. So he answered a couple of questions for me, and he showed me like a simple JavaScript library that you can use to connect to chat, and so it's super simple. It's just a simple HTML page right now that just that just listens on all the chat messages. So it's pretty simple, but yeah, it still takes time. The most time it took was making that video, of the hacker sitting here and typing and stuff like that, and then editing it properly and exporting it in like a format that plays well in the browser and stuff like that. What architecture is he using? Harvard or Phenomenon? We had this discussion earlier. It's probably closer to the. It's probably more like the Phenomenon architecture. But I mean, we built it ourselves. We could always change stuff. Okay, somebody says Harvard. See, the opinions are different. Generally, I would say, yes, those are different things, different definitions, but you are then, like, in reality, these things are always blurry. Is this Cisco risk? That's the same. That's the same discussion that you have about Cisco risk. Yes, it makes sense to have different terms to describe different things, and they have kind of different definitions. But in reality, real life and nature is always a little bit more fluid and a little bit more on a spectrum than you might think. It's not always black and white. So you have these definitions. They kind of make sense for language to convey certain ideas and stuff like this. But in the end, maybe in reality, they might not follow these things like exactly. Okay, this basically applies to anything in life. It is the Ben Eder architecture. Or like the SAP architecture. Ben Eder also bases it on a book, and it's called SAP, Simple as Possible. But just, you can watch Ben Eder's first video here in the playlist that I've shown here right now on screen. If you watch the first video, Ben explains exactly like kind of like the architecture of this whole machine. What you have on the ledge on the window. You mean that glowing thing there? Do you mean that? That's Lametric. It's like an overpriced LED clock. Okay, let's continue watching this video. We have streamed for over 3 hours already. I don't want to stream for too much longer. Next video topic, we will continue the browser exploitation series for a bit.
Outputs here are
It's funny that you associate SAP with IBM. It's kind of interesting.
that are correctly inverted are now hooked to the inputs of our TriStar.
Every Sunday, new videos.
Over here. Now, if we look back at the pinout of our 70.
Stop. He made another connection there. Here is another VCC connection. Also, you could give a long hard agent with some admin commands and chat. Yeah, there are a lot of these ideas. I've kind of thought about this kind of stuff too. It would be cool to be a bit more chat interactive, maybe control even stuff in the room, things like that. Has anybody of you ever watched like the Twitch streamer Slightly Musical? His name is Albert. Like he also like works on trying to make his like room more interactive and tries to have like cool creative ideas to make his room more interactive. And so, for example, he doesn't have alerts for like subscriptions and donations overlaid on the stream, but he uses a thermal printer, like a needle printer, like a from cash register and stuff like that. And so he has that attached above his desk or where he's sitting, and every time when somebody is subscribing, it will print that out and it will like fly down and fall down. That's such a cool idea. And so he also has like a thing that can spray water, and for like $3 you can make it squirt water at him. Or he also has done like electroshocks at some point, like attached to his arm. And depending on how much you pay, the more, like the higher it will like do it. So yeah, he does some. He has some cool ideas, and he always tries to think of that. So it's always fun, like hearing about his like ideas to improve stream. Yeah, and then there is I'm not sure. Do you know Adam 13531, who is like developing Botland on stream? He also has a little bit of like stream interaction. You get like commands to like control his light, the color of his light, for example. Oh, this is so, like, doesn't fit so well. Do you enjoy this streaming more than YouTube comments? Do you know Chat Overflow by German YouTuber streamer Skate? Nope, never heard of him, I think. It's different. It's just different. So I was kind of inspired to stream again from actually Miskiff. I'm not sure if anybody... Oh, thanks for the cheer, Mindsolf. So Miskiff is like a streamer. I mean, I understand it's like if not everybody likes it. But he does like a lot of improv acting on stream. This is kind of where I try to do it, but I'm by no way as the NPC work, by no way as like creative or good as him with this acting. So like, if you have seen like the makeup tutorial or the story I told at the beginning with like the black and white screen, or like all the small stuff that I've done like with the wire stripper, all these things that that I try to do is kind of inspired by that. It's like this improv acting, trying to make the stream a little bit more interesting. And I guess he does it unintentionally, this kind of acting. It just has kind of involved for him, but it works so well, and I find it so entertaining. And I kind of watched him for just a couple of weeks, and I thought this is so much fun. And like, if you know me in real life, I'm very introvert. I don't go out much. I don't like to talk to people a lot. Like, I like to be by myself. And I'm also not a very outgoing person. Like, I prefer to like sit in the corner and just observe the room. I don't like to be the center of attention and all that kind of stuff, right? That's me in real life. But being here in like my room alone, in my safe zone where I'm feel very comfortable, it allows me a little bit to open up a bit more and be a bit more like how I am, maybe, for example, like with my closest friends or something like this, right? So it feels really nice. It just feels different from YouTube comments. It's just like streaming is somewhat kind of it's different. It's really refreshing right now. Also, I'm in a very stressful time with like my master thesis and work and all that kind of stuff. So the streaming thing is kind of an interesting outlet in a way, and allows me to be creative in new ways I haven't been creative before, like on YouTube, right? Like the YouTube channel I'm really proud of YouTube channel, but it has become somewhat of a restricted thing what I can do on there, and so having now the second channel and this Twitch stream allows me a little bit more to experiment a little bit more again and just try something weird, and that feels really good. That is quite fun. You bring beer. Yeah, between like-minded. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, that's it basically. I wouldn't imagine you don't talk to people since you're... I mean, I do talk to people, but I mean, like, I wouldn't be like like, if you would tell me that I would do like acting out makeup tutorials or like tell a story with like music, just do like this, try to do this epic unboxing or all this kind of stuff. Like if you would have told me that I would do that kind of stuff, that doesn't fit my real life me, right? This is not me in a weird way. So I have like this streamer persona, and it's just different. It's like it's not quite a character, right? I'm not like completely acting, but it's just such a different environment that I'm in that allows me to just be a little bit different, and that's, I don't know, that's quite fun. I don't really know how to explain it. I still haven't quite figured it out. You know, I've streamed for like, it's like the 10th day or something like that. So it's yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Okay, so let's watch a little bit of this video. I'm not sure how much he does. I don't want to stream for much longer, but yeah, let's see.
Okay, so now all of our outputs here that are correctly inverted are now hooked to the inputs of our tri-state buffer, so we can hook our bus in over here. Now if we look back at the pinout of our 74LS189 again, the other pins that we haven't hooked up yet so far are the data inputs, so D1, D2, D3, D4, and then the other 4 bits on the other chip, as well as
allow chat to type 5 characters into cmd.exe, and after a big donation, let's see how long it would take until we have a reverse shell. That would be actually quite funny. If the stakes are high enough, like if it's like, if you could actually get something from it, like it would be actually my machine or something, like this laptop or so. That would be, that when the incentives are high enough, that would be kind of funny, I think.
Our address line, so A0, A1, A2, and A3. So this is a 4-bit address, and we've got 2 chips. And so what we want to do is we want to tie A0 together on both chips, and then tie A1 to A1 on the other chip, A2 to A2, A3 to A3, so that when we have our 4-bit address, it's addressing both chips at the same time, and then one chip will have the high 4-order data bits, and the other chip will have the low 4-order data bits. So basically what we're going to do is just tie these 4 address lines together. So the first address on A0, oops, is pin 1. So we'll just tie pin 1 on these 2 chips together. And then the second address line is pin 15 here, and pin 14, and pin 13. So that ties the address lines, the 4 address bits from the 2 memory chips together. And we'll kind of run out of room on this board, but what I'll do is I'll just hook up some wires here for those 4 address lines, and just hook these up here. So we've got basically 4 address lines. So the first one is pin 1 here, and then the second one is this guy here, then this, and then this. So I'm just going to hook them all to ground for now. So basically setting all my addresses to 0000. And then eventually we'll have another input coming from our memory address register that'll come in to here. We'll hook that up later. And then same thing for the data line. So the data, first bit is the input for
sorry. Okay. I was talking to a secret person, and I got a delivery. So, so I was brought 2 different kinds of sunglasses, and they were like at a sale. They were super cheap. So I got 2 different kinds, and I don't know if they like fit me or whatever. I was just brought 2 different ones, and so now I gotta check if they fit me or if they are my style or whatever. So I feel like they look quite big maybe already, but let's see. So you need to decide if they look silly or not. By the way, to figure out the style, I was looking up like Michael Cera sunglasses and compared to what kind of style Michael Cera wears, because everybody's comparing me to Michael Cera. So I figured if he's a cool actor and he wears the best fitting sunglasses given by a designer or like an outfit planner or whatever, then that means that would also fit me. But I don't know. It's weird. Oh yeah, full screen camera. There we go. So let's see. Ah, crap. That's not work. So these are the first ones. Are they big for my face? Too big? I don't know. Okay, so these are the first one. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how fitting thing. Okay, so these are the first ones. That's like too big. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then the others might also be. But from the style, okay. So if they are, but what would you say from the style? Like what style would fit my face better? Would you say that these are also too big, or are they fine? Are you just saying they are not too big? Better, but still a little bit. Okay. We can get used to it. Okay, so would these be from the style be theoretically better, just like too big or what? The gradient is nice though. I think these would in principle be like the style I like to wear, I think. Oh wow, the reflection is like crazy. Now you can see my setup. You are asking a bunch of computer nerds for fashion advice. Yeah, exactly, because I have no clue myself. That's why I have to ask. Some cyclist classes. All right. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, the lights give up heat, but all the other stuff around here as well. Yeah. Okay. No, I think I quit exit the stream now. Let's continue with the connection here tomorrow. Like I said, I don't want to extend the stream too much. That was a fun end, I guess, with the sunglasses instead of attaching these wires. That seems to be more weird. Hooded shirt and sandals. That's why I placed the stream and just chatting. Yeah, it would be illegal by Twitch terms of service to put this into the science and technology category. Yeah, so I guess thanks so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for the subscription and bits today. We made a little bit of progress on the RAM module. Was that all we did? I guess that's all we did. I told you a story about the other wire stripper that I found. But yeah, let's continue on this tomorrow. That's fine. Again, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. And maybe check out the podcast that I did yesterday. You find it. Do I still have it in there? No, I don't. Crap. You can find it in the VOD on this channel or here on this channel. And see you soon. So, bye-bye.